We're taking a little bit closer look at the Sony Ericsson Vivaz, and it's got a nice touchscreen here. Don't mind the bubbles. It's from the screen protector. I found that those are particularly useful, and so I put a fresh one on just now after using it for a little while. Wanted to put the cleaner one on, and as you can see, if you don't put it on perfectly, you get a little bit of a bubble. Getting to know this phone a little better, I was able to work my way through the navigations a little bit easier, pushing the buttons and whatnot. The kind of, you got this top row right here that is your default. Here we got Twitter, this kind of wave motion thing, whatever images or videos you have, and then kind of your general settings. And you can set your shortcuts here. Trying to get a good focus on it, but it's easier said than done. The Vivaz is it's a decent phone. This is obviously a prototype, so there's not going to be a perfect experience, but the experience I had was largely positive for a non-Android device. I just found myself looking for things that just weren't there because I was expecting Android type features, because this looks and feels largely like a smartphone, but the fact that it's not is something you got to keep reminding yourself. Again, let's take a quick look at the body. It's a HD 720p video, 8.1 megapixel camera. Feels light, almost feels like a toy. Really easy to hold, but I'd be afraid of breaking it, I think, if it doesn't feel very solid. I do like the fact that there's a video camera and a camera button separate on the top. These are the buttons that you use to actually shoot your video or pictures, and open the camera as a shortcut as well. So if you don't want to go navigate over to the appropriate section, you just click here, and as you can see, it's got a nice bright light, and this was pretty useful for videos and for a decent flash. The USB cover was a bit of a nuisance, and having to peel that back and then slide the USB into it, it was a little bit more trouble than it was worth. And so if I were to actually own this phone, I probably would have just pulled it off. You got your microphone down there, your rocker buttons for your volume, and that's also the zoom for your camera. And when filming, I found that the zoom was a little bit choppy, so you kind of wanted to pre-zoom if you knew you were going to want a close-up of something. And this is the kind of the universal key lock and all that button, but I found that I was constantly turning this thing off accidentally because it was just really touchy. So I'm not sure if that makes a difference in the prototype versus the final version, but I just found that it was kind of it was more trouble than it was worth to try to lock the thing, because a lot of the times I would just turn the phone off altogether. Then I'd have to restart it just to make sure that didn't miss any calls or anything. So your phone pretty much sits in one of these permanent states. It either sits in your Twitter account or this little background. There's a little aquarium on there too that you can choose. or you can keep it sitting on the latest photos you've done or the actual menu. So once you kind of get used to that little top nav bar, you'll have a little bit better time with the phone. And as far as touch goes, if you're really precise with a fingernail, you can probably do it. But otherwise, you gotta use the included style, especially if you want to type anything. So I just found myself kind of avoiding anything that required any sort of typing while I was using it, just because I just didn't want to deal with it. It was too much of an effort. All in all, this could be a good phone for someone. It's definitely a good video camera and a good camera, and you just got to be willing to use it as a camera and not as a fancy phone. Because, like I said, you got to just constantly remind yourself that this is not a smartphone. So you're not gonna get the same kind of perks that you would from a smartphone. So if you want just a basic feature phone, it does what it does well. It actually, the antenna survived several spots where I normally lose reception. So that says something about it right there. The antenna is particularly strong for a mobile device, and I was able to talk all the way on my hour commute without dropping the call. Other than that, being a prototype, it's kind of hard to really judge any of the flaws that I found, because by the time that the Vivaz is launched, we're gonna see some improvements. At least I hope we would. So there we have the Sony Ericsson Vivaz.